Ah, the Rouen Coffeehouse. Worst Java in Lamplight City, but there's no better place to overhear all the rumors and gossip in town. Just make sure you don't get too close to the other patrons. Discretion was never your forte.
If it isn't my old friend, up to no good.
Hello, Fordham. It's good to see you.
How did you get them to let you in here?
It's rather simple, really. The owner and I have an understanding. He pretends women are allowed in coffee houses, and I don't report his unsavory business practices to Chief Snelling.
Sounds like a good deal. What sort of unsavory business practices are we talking about?
Oh, we haven't got time to get into that now. But take some advice. Don't order anything that isn't water.
I got your message. What's going on?
It's time for you to join the big boys again, Fordham. Your days of finding lost cats are over.
So stop teasing me and tell me what it is already.
Do you know Madame Laura Duprey?
Laura Duprey? She's one of those Gascon Grand Dames, isn't she?
That's right. I'm surprised you've heard of her. I didn't think you cared about those types of people.
I don't, but Adelaide has several of them as clients. She gets paid to pretend to care about their lives, and I get to hear the sort of details.
Madame Duprey died the day before yesterday. Her funeral was held this morning.
My condolences.
But halfway through the service, the mourners heard a loud knocking coming from inside her coffin.
She wasn't dead?
Apparently not. Nearly interred alive, although her doctor swears she had no pulse. Duprey's son Andrew was quick to suspect foul play. He accused a man named Albert Martin, and the police arrested him.
So where do I come in? Sounds like the case has already been solved.
I strongly suspect that Martin is innocent, especially considering the talk of him having used black magic on Duprey. The police feel they have enough evidence to convict, so they're not bothering to investigate any further. You're going to look into it and see if I'm right, then find the person who was really behind this.
Has Madame Duprey recovered from her ordeal?
I'm afraid not. Apparently she's been catatonic since they pulled her out of the coffin.
How unfortunate.
If you'd like to question Mr. Martin, he's being held at the Bow Street jail. Or you could take a look around his house. It's at 451 Compton Street in Worcester.
And the Duprey home?
That's at Emmeline and Comtesse, right across from the old Angeline convent. It's also possible you might run into the police during your investigation, since they're technically still on the case.
Thanks for the warning.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about before you get started?
Yes, actually. I had a couple of questions.
Let's hear them then.
Don't suppose there have been any developments regarding Bill's murder?
Unfortunately not. The department hasn't exactly been focusing on that case as a priority. The general attitude is that it was an accident. Bill died an honorable death in the line of duty.
Would have been nice if they bothered saying that at the funeral.
And of course there are still those who blame you for his death, Snelling being the first and foremost.
But the man who really caused Bill's death is still out there.
Yes, I know, but it looks like you're on your own if you want to find him. My hands are tied. I can only ask around so much before the higher-ups get suspicious. Just don't give up. New Britannia may be a big city, but the criminal world is surprisingly close-knit. If you find any connections or leads during your other cases, be sure and let me know. I'll do the same if I find anything out.
See, she has a priority straight. You could learn a lot from Upton.
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
What do you know about Madame Duprey?
Only what I've read about her in the paper. She's been married thrice, which I can empathize with, and she's extremely rich, which I can't.
What makes you think this Martin fellow is innocent?
The fact that the only evidence is the word of Duprey's son. I've seen this sort of thing thousands of times, and I'm sure you did too. They're just looking for a scapegoat. You're the only person I know who can put it right.
Upton's intentions are noble, but she has to realize this is just a drop in the ocean.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Well, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help you find the flower shop burglar, but I suppose freeing an innocent man is a worthy diversion. Ah, Compton Street. We're not too far from Restaurant Row. When's the last time you ate, anyway?
Please, let's not add eating to the list of things to nag me about.
I'm sorry, I have no time for visitors today.
I need to speak with you about Albert Martin.
Albert? Are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
Oh, I don't think you can help. I'm sorry.
Sorry to bother you. I'll be on my way.
Good day to you, sir. You again? I told you I have no time for visitors.
Sorry to bother you. I'll be on my way.
Good day to you, sir.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Duprey. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Duprey's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes, well, I'll have a look around and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him. What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupreys a cool copper.
So long, Birdie.
Rock! Bye-bye!
A horrible little porcelain figurine. Madame Duprey didn't strike me as the type to play with dolls. This is always my favorite part of detective work.
Nothing inside but a bunch of extra doilies.
How disappointing. Maybe you should steal one, just to spite Madame Duprey for not giving us any good clues.
No, Bill.
You're no fun, Miles. Goodness, someone went overboard with the flowers. This brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Ones I'd rather forget. These should be useful.
The Science of Pharmacology. I'm sure it's riveting stuff. It looks as though this folded piece of paper is being used as a bookmark. I hope remembering what page they were on wasn't too important.
Looks like it's a letter for Andrew.
Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills. These would make a sloth act like a hummingbird.
The bottle is empty.
A gentle reminder that everyone's time is slowly running out. Is this really the best that medical science has to offer? Oh, look! It's one of those new audio cylindergraphs. I can't quite wrap my head around how they can manage to get sound out of a wax cylinder. Nice bouquet of roses. Although it would make things much easier if they were Easter lilies.
If only. Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
I've never seen so many beauty products together in one place. Doesn't look like they get used much, though.
They're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing.
Let's have a look through these papers. Aha, what's this?
Interesting. This Miss Montgomery must be Andrew's sister. But why is she renting a room in the Chum? Guess there's really only one way to find out. A much younger Madame Duprey. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror.
It would appear that Madame Duprey was taking music lessons.
Her current predicament has probably put an end to that venture, though. Seems Madame Duprey fancies herself a poet.
Well, that was life-changing.
For once in my life, I'm completely speechless.
Then perhaps I should take this with me and read it more often. Nah. Let's see if there's anything in these drawers. Damn, nothing but personal effects and more stationery.
Don't forget the first rule of detective work. If there's nothing useful inside, check underneath and between.
Ah, yes, of course. Thanks for the reminder.
Now this is intriguing. You've got some huge bags under your eyes, Miles. Reminds me of the case we had on that strange train.
Don't remind me.
I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Duprey and I at least have similar tastes.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
What can you tell me about Madame Duprey?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, Tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
I found this bottle of pills upstairs. Are they yours?
Yes, I take those from time to time when I'm feeling tired.
You seem to be out.
Yes, that is a pity.
Where do you usually acquire them?
Oh, they're available by mail order only. I'll have to remember to request some later.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is that bad, do you think?
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery. I found a letter upstairs addressed to a Miss Montgomery. Who is that?
You were snooping around up there? Naughty, naughty, Mr. Fordham.
It's part of my job. Now, are you going to tell me or not?
Nope. I don't think I will. You're the detective. I'll let you solve that mystery yourself.
I think this mystery could be best solved with a punch in the nose. God, I wish I still had fists.
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me about Madame Duprey.
She is a great woman and a pillar of the community. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her, or how someone could be capable of such a barbaric feat. Though this ordeal has been terrible, I am confident she will overcome. The power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her strength of character.
Do you think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt it.
What were the circumstances surrounding Madame Duprey's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Duprey had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Duprey wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look. May I ask exactly what kind of sedative you gave Andrew?
A simple tincture of laudanum. It's what I give all my nervous patients.
He seems a bit out of sorts.
Hot? Meat kettle.
It can have that effect, but it usually wears off in half a day or so.
Is there a way to bring him out of his condition sooner?
A stimulant would have the opposite effect, but I wouldn't recommend mixing the two. It could have potentially harmful effects on his heart.
Oh, of course. I wasn't planning on doing anything of the sort. I was just curious.
It's cute how you act like you have no experience in these matters. It's almost convincing.
How long have you been Madame Duprey's private physician?
5 years, and I've been practicing medicine for the past 30. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview Asylum.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky, he could be your doctor someday.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly heal broken bones, among other things. If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
Did you examine Madame Duprey after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however. She's remained in an unresponsive state ever since.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Duprey to appear dead?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
What leads you to believe Madame Duprey was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of black magic cult? There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear dead, then commanding them to do their bidding. I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried. He appeared alive in his village some 20 years later.
Doesn't that seem a bit far-fetched to you, Doctor?
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham. Surely someone in your line of work can appreciate that.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Her eyes are glazed over and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person. Egad! Is this someone's room or a jungle?
Quite a fascinating array of plants in here, not to mention the machinery on the table.
Madame Duprey's daughter seems to have an interesting hobby. We really should see about tracking her down. That's quite the book collection. It almost puts Adelaide's to shame.
All impeccably cataloged and organized as well, which makes the two missing volumes stand out even more.
Those are the most vibrant flowers we've seen in a while. I bet they smell extra strong.
Yes, they certainly do.
It's a good thing you're the one with the nose. They appear to be scientific scribblings. I can't make heads nor tails of them.
That makes two of us. Well now, this is interesting.
Oh, would you look at that? Oh, would you... Etheric pressure. What a bunch of nonsense. Just a bunch of technical nonsense. I can't understand a word of it. Ah, St. Denis Cemetery. Best view in the city. It's just a shame none of the residents can enjoy it. I think I'm buried around here somewhere. Wonder how the old gravestone is doing these days. This just goes to show you can't take it with you, so you might as well spend it all on a giant tomb. I don't know him. Must be a recent addition to the force. Well, at least he won't recognize you.
Good day to you, officer.
Good day, sir. How may I be of assistance?
Would you mind letting me in the tomb, please?
Afraid I can't do that, sir. This tomb is currently part of a police investigation and ain't available for visits until further notice.
I think I saw someone being mugged at the front entrance.
Nice try, sir, but that's clearly a bunch of bull. You're just trying to get me to step away so you can go inside the tomb.
What? No, I would never do such a thing.
In any case, there's another officer stationed at the entrance, so if there was somebody being mugged, he'd see it for sure.
Well, at the very least, it's nice to see the department is hiring competent officers who aren't easily fooled. Looks like people have left markings and offerings in front of this tomb. You may think it's a silly superstition, but I wish you'd leave a bottle of Bollingworth at my grave every now and then.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something a cat spat up.
Hello, Giles. It's lovely to see you too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he?
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Duprey. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
What can you tell me about Madame Duprey?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it wasn't you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin. Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame Duprey's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with Duprey's daughter, Juliet Montgomery. Duprey doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and loving as my dear Juliet.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
Tell me about Juliet.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days. Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliet studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say, had the same taste in books and art, didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better. I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame Duprey. The next thing I knew, I was here. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with worry. I just hope she's all right.
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She helps people.
I was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... how can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame Duprey's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship and the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
Of course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
That's all for now.
Wait, before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose I could do that, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Whatever happened to a simple I love you?